I made a video the other day about Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is being pushed to resign. And it was Ro Khanna, who was the first politician that I saw that made it very public that Chuck Schumer needs to step down. This is, of course, after those 8 Senate Democrats decided to vote along with the Republican Party and reopened the government. And of course, that kind of just leaves those subsidies for Obamacare just hanging, by a loose thread. And even the ladies of The View are now apparently calling out Chuck Schumer. It's interesting. I feel like people receive their PR call that it's okay to call out Chuck Schumer now. This is the second time under Donald Trump's administration this year that Chuck Schumer has caved to the Republicans. Now, a lot of people are saying, but Chuck Schumer voted no. He didn't vote along with the Republicans. Yes, but Chuck Schumer allowed it to be brought to the floor for a vote. You see, the way this works, as I explained in the other video, is that when you are the leader of the party in Congress, and Chuck Schumer is the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate, you already know whether or not you have the votes before you bring something to the floor. Perfect example. When Bernie Sanders had the legislation for Yemen, he wanted to get the U.S. out of Yemen, stop, sending, the weapons to kill people in Yemen, etc. Remember that whole legislation that he wanted to bring forward? He was stopped short of it because they said, don't do it. We don't have the votes. They already know, but you don't have to just listen to me. Ro Khanna said so himself. He said this publicly on CNN.
You've called on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to step aside. You say he's no longer effective as a leader. Explain this for our viewers, because he did vote. You've called on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to step aside. You say he's no longer effective as a leader. Explain this for our viewers, because he did vote against this compromise that you oppose. Why are you mad at him?
Jake, you've covered politics a long time. Yes, he voted no, but 8 senators who said they consulted him daily go and vote yes. One of those people is his number 2. He's not going to do that without Senator Schumer's sign off. And then conveniently, all 8 of those senators aren't up for re-election in 2026. This is the DC way. Senator Schumer could have blocked this if he had wanted to. And one of the challenges is, in addition to the healthcare premium spikes, it undermines the narrative that this was a Trump shutdown. If 8 Democratic senators could have ended it, we should have kept the pressure on.
You've called on Senate Minority.
So Ro Khanna has been going on show after show after show, just really calling out Chuck Schumer. And that is true. Of course, he already knew. That he already knew. So he shouldn't have allowed it to come to the floor for a vote, because he already knew that it was going the way of the Republicans. It helps Donald Trump. It helps the Republican Party. And you know who hurts the most? The working class people. By the way, when it comes to Obamacare, when it comes to SNAP, that is not something that is just a Democrat issue. A lot of the people who are on SNAP and Obamacare live in red districts. So this isn't just something that impacts people in blue states, it impacts people in red states as well. So when you put the partisan line aside, you start to see this is impacting a lot of people. 42 million people need SNAP. And then Obamacare. It's just wild to me, because literally Donald Trump and his administration, they're acting like they don't have supporters that depend on Obamacare. So they are willing to throw the American people under the bus for their own agenda. And that is the agenda of their donors, the donor class. So Ro Khanna has been calling it out, as he should. And now The View is calling him out. Now, this is funny, because Chuck Schumer went on to The View after he voted in favor of Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill like earlier this year. And he got a lot of crap for that. And they let him come on, and they were like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. But this time they didn't defend him. At least Whoopi and Sonny did not. And I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to say it seems like to me a call went out. A PR call went out that said it's okay to go ahead and criticize Chuck Schumer and say that he needs to resign. I feel like that call went out, right? Just like I felt like that call went out when people started to finally say that Joe Biden needs to step down. So listen to what they had to say here on The View.
And they all said, no, we're not going to mess with anything. No, we're going to leave everything as it was. I have no faith that they're going to negotiate and come back to the table. And you know, I'm glad that folks, maybe, because again, we have seen, you say this is going to happen and then it doesn't happen.
Right.
So surprise me and show me that this is really, that people are going to get their money, that people are going to get the money that they are entitled to. It's not a gift.
Right.
They're entitled to this money during when there's a shutdown. You're entitled to that money.
Yeah.
So
There's
this
a
idea
contingency fund for
that they're giving in and giving this as a gift, it's not a gift. No. You know, I don't understand. So is he right that Americans wanted Democrats to keep fighting? You know, this would, and you know, people will get rehired, supposedly, federal workers, and reinstate SNAP benefits, but a 50-50 chance of extending the subsidies, I don't believe it.
So I've been saying from the outset, I don't.
Let me just come in here and say something about what Whoopi just said there. I don't fully think Whoopi really understands. When she says, well, they got to give people their money. No, they don't. No, they don't. And even when those federal workers are rehired, that doesn't change the disruption, the monetary disruption that they just had in their lives. That doesn't change that. When you are laid off and you go file for unemployment, you're not paid the salary that you were just making. You make less. So you have to try to pay your bills and stretch your money with the money that you get from unemployment, which is not the salary that you were making, all in a while at the same time, still looking for a job. And it's disruption. And I want to be very clear about this. For people who are working class, people who are low income, one of the things that you continue to hear is disruption. Whether it is financial disruption, whether it's emotional disruption, whether it's, disruption, whether it's people being evicted, housing, etc. It's constant disruption. That is why it is hard to break the cycle of poverty. Now, some people have been able to do it, but as a whole, it is very difficult. If you are born poor, it is hard to get out of that cycle because of all the disruption. So it's just, to me, you have to acknowledge that you disrupted their lives. Now listen to Alyssa. Listen to this.
I think anyone wins in a government shutdown, and I welcome this deal. And let me tell you why. So the fight over extending the Obamacare subsidies is about addressing 22 million Americans who are going to see their healthcare premiums skyrocket. I believe that's important. I'm with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm with Mike Lawler and a number of Republicans who believe we have to extend those for at least a year. However, in the interim, while the government remains shut down, 42 million people are losing SNAP benefits ahead of the holidays. So to me, we've got to hold out for those 22 million whose premiums are going to go up, but deny these people SNAP benefits in the meantime. That math doesn't math for me. I think.
You know what doesn't math for me, Alyssa, is that you framing this in a way that I feel is really disingenuous, because it's interesting to me that now all of a sudden you care about people on SNAP. So think about this: spineless or corrupt? I call this corruption. First of all, the way that this is being framed in itself, I don't feel is the right way. So let's frame this a lot better. She's comparing the two, and it's like, well, people need food, or the SNAP benefits, or the Obamacare, and I think people need the food. Okay. The point is this: when you look at the bigger picture, and let's get to the root cause here. The root thing is this: nobody in this country should go hungry. The United States has a lot of money. Hell, we just gave a lot of money to Argentina. We give money to Israel. We have a bloated defense budget, which is over $860 billion. Do not come to me and tell me that the money's not there. So the thing is, no one in this country should go hungry. Everyone in this country should have health care. And I hate to bring it up again, but we're going to do it, damn it. Because here's the thing. couple years ago, there was an action called Force the Vote. And the idea is that you would force the vote against Nancy Pelosi as Speaker to bring a vote for Medicare for all on the floor. Now, a lot of pushback that came from that was that, well, it's not going to pass anyway, so don't do it. But the strategy of Force the Vote was to get the politicians on record. So the politicians that voted against giving people health care during a pandemic, they would go on record, and those Democrats would face a primary challenge. Now, that was 2021, correct? Okay. January 2021. It is now 2025. Those people could have been replaced. We may not have been in this situation because if we passed universal health care in this country, we wouldn't be in this situation. People wouldn't be holding on to Obamacare and like, oh my God, the subsidy here and the subsidy there. People wouldn't be holding on to these things. Obamacare is just a Band-Aid on a wound. Obamacare is not healing the wound. And the sooner people start to understand that we are making things worse, the better off things will be. Do not come to me and ask me how we're going to pay for it when they sending all this money to Argentina and money to Israel. Stop sending money over there. That's how you pay for it, God damn it. And it's actually cheaper than what you're paying now. Health insurance premiums go up every year. Every year. During the pandemic, I sat there and I watched some of the health insurance companies say, you know what, we're not charging for these visits because Massachusetts is under lockdown. Oh, okay. You could have did that all along. They've already shown you what could have been done. You have other countries in the world who have universal health care. Our neighbor Canada has universal health care. Our European allies have universal health care. And the country we continue to give money to, Israel, has universal health care. But Alyssa, the way that she is framing this is, well, if I decide between the two, you shouldn't have to decide at all. We shouldn't have to have people on SNAP. We shouldn't have to have people fighting to hold on to Obamacare, God damn it. You shouldn't have to fight at all. And that's the way it needs to be framed. Let's go back in.
People, adults, need to get to the table and need to be willing to negotiate. And here's the other factor that wasn't mentioned here. Donald Trump has been pushing Leader Thune to nuke the filibuster, which would allow Republicans to reopen the government without needing a single Democratic vote to do so. Leader Thune didn't do that. He actually worked with a number of Democrats to come to this conclusion, which does get Dem some win, reversing those layoffs, as you mentioned, extending SNAP and WIC benefits through the end of 2026, also ensuring that the military and veterans affairs get paid, and guaranteeing this vote on Obamacare subsidies, which we'll see. But that is a much better deal than what could have happened if it was not reopened. And finally, Democrats are going to look like losers if they're just attacking each other in this. For some reason, Marjorie Taylor Greene was better at messaging the stakes of this shutdown, it feels like, than a lot of Democrats were. You have to give people the benefits they are entitled to under SNAP. You have to address the underlying issues of the crisis of healthcare in this country, but get government back working. No one can get anywhere. Flights aren't flying. The holidays are coming.
Yeah.
This is a welcome decision in my mind.
Okay.
No, Alyssa, it's not that no one can get anywhere. People who have money can get to where they need to get. People who have the money have no problem getting anywhere. People who have money don't have to worry about where they're getting their next meal from. They don't have to worry about it. Billionaires don't have to worry about this. They're fine. Let's go on here.
Look, let's be clear. The Republicans run the House. The Republicans run the Senate. The Republicans run the White House. The Republicans run the Supreme Court, as far as I'm concerned. This was a choice by Republicans to cut SNAP benefits. This was a choice by Republicans to cut ACA subsidies. This was a choice by the Republicans to gut the federal government and federal employment. Democrats had nothing to do with it. I want an opposition party. I think the Democrats caved. I think the Democrats let down the American people. And like you, Whoopi, I have absolutely no faith that the Republican Party will come to the negotiating table in good faith. You know, you do something like this, shame on you the first time. You do it twice, 3 times, 4 times. Shame on me. Shame on the Democrats for even believing that the Republicans will, even vote on it. There's no guarantee in this New Deal that there's going to be a vote. There's no even commitment to have a vote. So the bottom line is the Democrats went into this after a blue wave out of the American people saying, we do want the opposition. We the working people want the Democratic Party to fight.
After the blue wave. And that's the key point. Anybody find it interesting that they decided to bring this to the floor for a vote after they had already won those races and not before? Sounds strategic, don't it? Think about that for a second.
For them. And now they just caved and surrendered. I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over. If he cannot keep his caucus together, he needs to go. He needs to be replaced.
I completely
Pause here. So they got the memo that now it's okay to call out Chuck Schumer and say you need to go. They got the memo. They don't get to just say whatever they want on The View either, guys. Like they have, little earbuds. The producers tell them, don't talk about this, don't talk about that. So they got the memo. It's okay. Like I said, the call went out that you can go after Chuck Schumer now. Now, listen to Sarah here.
I also agree with you, Sonny, for this reason, what you rattled off. The Republicans run the executive branch, the legislative, the judicial, according to you. They have all the power right now. The problem here is it's a privilege to say our food's not affected, our health insurance,
there are people in my family that receive SNAP benefits.
I'm not just saying, I'm not meaning family. We're all affected by, as we go out. But I'm saying right here to say it's a privilege that they don't have health care and now they don't have food. The people are struggling so much. Our food banks all week in our towns were at the food banks. We were delivering nonstop and we kept getting notifications. They're empty again. They're empty again. Opposition, people can vote in a blue wave and say, but opposition, when you have no power, is not helping us at all. They need food on the table. We need our flights back up in the air. The holidays are coming. People can't afford Christmas.
The Republican Party should have done.
Pause. Did you hear what Sarah said? People can't afford Christmas. Let me tell you guys something, and I'm going to go ahead and put the call out now. And you guys can clip this if you want to and share it with people. But I'm putting the call out right now. Come Black Friday, keep your money in your pocket. Come Black Friday, do not go out here shopping to these stores. Don't shop on don't do online either. Don't buy on Amazon. None of them. Come Black Friday, keep your money in your pocket. You're not saving as much as you think you are any damn way. They've convinced Americans for years that it's cheaper for you to buy a big flat screen TV at Walmart on Black Friday when it's actually a little bit cheaper for you to get it in February. You know what I'm saying? These businesses do this so that they can get out of the red before the end of the year. That's why it's called Black Friday. Keep your damn money in your pocket. Come Black Friday. Don't buy nothing. Don't buy nothing on Black Friday. I don't care what party you're part of. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what your economic status is. Come Black Friday, keep your money in your pocket. I have no problem doing this. I hate Black Friday. I think it is a capitalist disaster. That's what Black Friday is. And it's absolute damn shame that these stores have people working the day after Thanksgiving now, and some of them even on Thanksgiving. Some of these stores start on Thanksgiving. So keep your money in your pocket. If you need to get, the stuff you usually get for the weekend, if you need to get wine, ladies, I know some of you like your rosé. If you need to get your rosé, if you need to get, like your popcorn, whatever it is that you're doing for the weekend, that Thanksgiving weekend, you do it before Black Friday. Keep your money in your pocket. Let these companies fail. You fight back with your wallet. It's nonviolence. And it saves you money. So back to what Sarah was saying here about them not having power. Sarah obviously doesn't understand how politics works. Chuck Schumer is the leader of the Democratic Party. He brought it to the floor for a vote, knowing it wasn't going to go in their favor, knowing it was a win for Donald Trump. Sarah, You are right. People need to eat. People need food. You're right. Sarah, maybe, you talked about those food lines. If you're not doing so, maybe go help those food banks. Maybe take some of the resources that you have and do some mutual aid, Sarah. Maybe do some of that. I don't know. Instead of you guys sitting behind that desk all the damn time, maybe get out from behind that desk and go do some damn mutual aid. These women sitting on this panel are millionaires. I do mutual aid. They got a lot more money than I do. They got a lot more money than you do. Go help, go feed people. They got a bigger platform. They got more resources than I do. If I can do it, they can do it. That's what you can do. Community building.
Yeah, but guess what? By doing this now, you open the government, we get our Arizona special elect.
Yeah.
Thank you. We get our vote on the Epstein stuff. And yes, thank you. I don't say her name right. Say it again.
Adelita Grijalva.
She will be sworn in because there are no more excuses.
And the Epstein files still won't get released.
But they'll have to take a public vote and go on record for not doing it.
They don't care.
Sonny, I'm just saying that's, yeah, I care. But what you're saying about if they don't come through, fine. I don't have a lot of faith in them, but call them on their bluff. Let the American public know the Democrats did their best, and now they're saying enough is enough. People need food, they need healthcare. Anything that happens here that was promised and isn't delivered, completely on the Republicans.
Well, let me tell you, I'm one of those people who got caught in airport hell yesterday, but I don't even feel like I have a right to complain because I was going through TSA and there are people there who haven't gotten paychecks. And I could hear them say, because I was going through Miami International the afternoon, and they were talking about, oh my God, they're voting again. Our TSA workers, at the same time that they have the stress and responsibility of keeping us safe in the skies, are also having to be pending to CNN and whatever, vote results there are in Congress. That is ridiculous, and it is shameful. And I'll tell you what else is shameful. And I lay this on Donald Trump, because the one that has the biggest bully pulpit here is Donald Trump. He is the president of the United States, much to my chagrin, but that means he has the responsibility to lead, to convene Republicans and Democrats, sit them around a table and have them craft a deal. But you know what Donald Trump was doing this weekend? Same thing he was doing last weekend. He was at Mar-a-Lago at a fancy party. Last weekend, there was the Great Gatsby theme. This weekend, he was hosting another fancy party with towers of seafood and champagne. The president of Argentina was at the fancy party this weekend.
Of course he was, because we gave him money. We gave him money, Anna. That's all they care about. They don't care about, we're going to fast forward. I can only take so much of Anna. I can only take so much of her. There was one more part here that Sonny said that I wanted to bring in.
People will get diagnosed with later stages of cancer, and this will cost lives. And we must demand better, starting with Donald Trump. And
we demand better by asking for more and thinking bigger, and not just thinking about people could get diagnosed with cancer and have it discovered too late because of Obamacare. Then that should be a reason for you to push for universal health care. That should be a reason for you to you know what I'm saying? But they don't want to go that far. And they have had people like AOC and Bernie on The View, on that panel, explain this to them, how it'll work, how it's paid, etc. So it's not like they don't know. They know. But they, in a lot of ways, honestly, you guys, all of these women sitting at The View, there have been multiple times where they have also acted as controlled opposition. Because when all this was explained to them over and over again about how we have so much money and people need healthcare in this country, they were just like, that's socialism. But look at where we're at now. We'll go on a little bit more here. I know you guys can only probably take so much of that.
We're not going to get better, because with Donald Trump, the cruelty is the point. He does not care. This is a Republican choice. The last thing that I'll say about the federal workers, there's a 2019 law that requires the federal government to pay federal workers.
You must. It's the law.
It's the law. So the fact that the Democrats traded in their vote to get federal workers working again is ludicrous. Let the courts do their job. Go
No, it's
through
to
the
get
courts
SNAP benefits
and
out. People
let the
can't
courts
eat.
do
People
their
can't
job.
afford the holidays.
Well,
It's the right thing. People shouldn't be starving in America.
No.
So why aren't the Democrats saying what Sonny just said? A lot of the politicians in DC are lawyers. Why aren't they saying what she just said? Like that was against the law to do that? Is it spineless or corrupt? I have been seeing a narrative float around that what just happened over the weekend with the vote. A lot of people are saying that the Democratic Party is spineless. I disagree. I don't think the Democratic Party is spineless. I think these politicians are corrupt. Chuck Schumer has been a politician for a long time. They know how this works. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly how this game is played. And this points back to the Ratchet effect. I know it's last minute, Eric, but can we find that? Can we pull up the Ratchet effect real quick? I want to show you guys something because, you know, it's kind of interesting to me that almost kind of seems like Chuck Schumer was fighting harder against Zoran Mandami than he was against Donald Trump. You know, it almost kind of seems like to me that some of these Democrat politicians, they were fighting harder against someone who's a member of their own party named Zoran Mandani than they are against Donald Trump. And there's a reason for that. It's called the Ratchet effect. See, this goes back to something I said before. I said, guys, they would rather have Donald Trump win than Bernie Sanders win. I said this back in 2020 because Donald Trump protects the status quo. He keeps that machine still going. The Ratchet effect. The Ratchet effect is a concept in sociology and economics illustrating the difficulty with reversing a course of action once a specific thing has occurred. So when we talk about this ratchet, you can see it moving over here. The mechanical ratchet that allows movement in one direction and seizes or tightens in the opposite. The concept has been applied to multiple fields of study. So, the ratchet effect. Because what basically happens is the Democratic Party, let me show you this, what the Republicans do. The Republicans move things to the right. So just pretend this wheel here is the Republican Party moving things to the right, and the wheel is turning to the right. And then you see this ratchet that's stopping in between the grooves. That's the Democratic Party. They prevent anything from moving to the left. And that is the ratchet effect. And that's how we get here. Because like I said, they will fight harder against someone who is to their left, that's a member of their own party, than they will against Donald Trump. And what that does is that it prevents these populist economic policies from actually coming to be. Because both of those parties serve corporate interests. So they're not spineless, they're corrupt. I want you guys to see what this person said here, Jesse. I was so angry at the people who voted third party after 2024. I'm starting to get it now. They're responding to power to the people who said, this is why we vote third party and don't vote at all. After years of betrayals and being stabbed in the back by the Democrats, we refuse to support our abusers. It's time you stop blaming us and start blaming your corrupt party that occupies the space of where a real left party should be. So first of all, kudos to Jesse, who says he gets it now. But it all just, it goes back to the ratchet effect. You know, a lot of people, like, it's funny too. I don't even live in a swing state. And a lot of people were mad at me for voting for Jill Stein. I'm like, okay, my state is blue. I'm just really confused. I don't even live in a swing state. Some people still don't understand how a presidential election works. It basically just comes down to those swing states. But I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I said, nah, bruh, with the genocide and all that mess, can't. Nope. But I think now people are starting to see. The Democratic Party right now is operating like controlled opposition. So no, I don't think they're spineless. They're corrupt. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.